Just reduce the volume.
Intel 入ってる。
Well, we waited so long, didn't we? Test cricket has waited 144 years until we got what was a well-documented and institutional final. And when we reached Southampton on the 18th of June, we had a component that's been part of cricket for these hundreds of years to also have its say, because the first day of play has been washed out. It's just one of those things that you have to accept about this beautiful game and the purest form of this beautiful game. We wish we had some cricket to talk about, but we will still talk some form of cricket with two fine cricketers and voices of the game. This is Intel presents ESPN Cricket for Matchday, powered by Royal Stag, and I'm in the company of Dale Steyn and Sanjay Manjrekar. And Sanjay, this is just one of those things that the non-cricket followers love to hit us with. You wait for it, a big game, and all of a sudden rain plays spoils. But we still love our game.
Yes, and that's why sometimes the kind of weather that we have in India we take for granted, because it rarely rains in India during the cricket season, but it's something that is always on the cards, round the corner when you're playing cricket in two lovely countries to play the game. One is of course England, the other is Sri Lanka, who have two monsoons. So all part of the game. Fortunately, we have the reserve day.
Dale, I'm told the weather in Cape Town's pretty good. We could probably, if you'd have timed this well enough, we could have moved everybody there on a quick flight and had it there.
Well, it's sunny now, but it was drizzling this morning when I went for a surf. So it's cold. I'm in this big jumper. The guys would be cold, but weather's just one of those things that kind of plays its part. Like Sanjay said, especially in England. And a strange thing about England is that one cloud comes over and it covers the whole island, of England. So, but their ground staff do a great job there. They're able to look after the grounds wonderfully. They've got good drainage. So as soon as that rain stops, and luckily we've got that extra day, they'll get back onto the park and get going.
Yeah, that's something we will resort to right away now. If you're building up to the first ever final of the World Test Championship, there were things that are unique about this game. One of those being the institution of a reserve day, which is now triggered as a result of play being washed out entirely on day one. Among other things, if you've been following our coverage, we've been eagerly waiting for this. We've been deprived of cricket, at least by those watching in India. There has been some cricket around the world, but we have been missing some cricket. And we know that the prize money is significant. It is an ICC event. It's a final. The Test mace goes to the winner of this game. And if it is a draw, of course, it's shared between both sides. But a reserve day is now triggered, Sanjay. So we're hoping that on June 23, we will get some kind of action and hopefully result in a result as well. We're hoping that over the next 4 or 5 days, we have enough weather to give us enough cricket to talk about as well as a result. Sanjay?
Yes, because I think we've lost about 2.5 hours play and maybe a little more. So you sort of make up about 30 minutes every day. So clearly the reserve day kicks in. So we get that time, and thank God, for somebody thought about that reserve day. But considering the way test matches are going around the world, and if you have 3.5 or 4 days of proper cricket, you might just get a result. And considering the weather that we've got, there's a good chance that the bowlers will have something there to challenge the batsmen. So we live in those times where little time is enough. India just needed a day and a little more to beat England recently in Ahmedabad. So
yes.
I think still plenty of time.
Yeah, we've seen 2-day finishes, like Sanjay points out, in that pink ball test in Ahmedabad recently, Dale. And all the build-up for this game has been 2 strong bowling attacks going up against each other. I guess the job is now to your brethren. The bowlers need to make sure we get a result. And 40 wickets in cloudy and wet conditions in England is not that hard, is it?
Yeah, and I think I don't know which strip they're playing on, but I played for Hampshire a couple seasons ago, and I remember we played a 4-day game on the one strip, and it went 5 days. We actually played a day night. We played a pink ball game. We didn't even need to turn the lights on because the sun stayed up for so long in England, so we didn't even use them. But then we followed it up with a 1-day game 2 days later. and we played on the centre strip, which I feel like they'll play probably this Test match on. And that one was just bounce and had a little bit of nip in it and everything like that. It was completely different to what we had just had for the previous 4 days. So, if they're going to be playing on that centre strip there at Hampshire, the GS Bowl, it could have a little bit in it, especially with these clouds and this weather that's lurking around. 40 wickets is very, very possible.
Yeah, India are also playing their first proper game of this tour. There are 5 tests awaiting in England, but there's been no practice game, Sanjay. And they also did something which we now expect of them after the series in Australia. They announced their 11 on the eve of the test. I don't know if they can go back. I think nothing stops them from going back on it. I don't think they've handed it over to the match referee, but they have announced their 11, which includes both spinners.
See, I think generally it's a good practice because it shows the opposition that you're very clear and confident about your, playing composition, the combination of players, and it's great for the players as well because you know exactly what's in store for you in the next couple of days, so they can mentally prepare, have their own sort of drills to prepare themselves for the match. Because the worst thing for a player is to be told on the morning of the match that somebody's injured and you're going to be playing, because that is really tough, or the night before or the morning of the match. But in this kind of weather, in this particular game, maybe India might feel that maybe we should have waited. And I think in England it might be more sensible to wait until the very last minute, because New Zealand now have the option of picking, depending on the weather, whether to play the left arm spinner or have somebody like a Colin de Grandhomme if there is seam and cloudy weather, or go for a pure specialist fast bowler like Matt Henry. India doesn't have the choice, but I guess their confidence lies in the fact that their approach has been to take players in form. I think that's a very interesting, playing 11 that India has picked. They've picked players on current form. They've said, to hell with the weather, to the pitch. We're just going to get guys who are high on confidence, and we're going to challenge New Zealand that way. So it's a very interesting selection, because when you go back to just convention, Raunak, this is first half. This is June. It's very early in the summer, and India will go with 2 left-arm spinners. I beg your pardon, 2 spinners and 3 seamers.
Yeah. Yep. Virat Kohli was asked that in the press conference yesterday, Dale, and he said, "No, we're not looking at the weather. We're picking our best team. We know what we're doing. But now when you've lost a day's play, yes, there's a reserve day now, but let's assume we've seen the forecast. We will lose a significant amount of play. Would you have waited till the very end, like New Zealand have, to just decide maybe we can go a batter light and a fast bowler heavy if we want to trigger a result out of this? Would you have waited, or do you like what India have done and announced an 11 on the eve of it and just put all doubts to rest?"
I like what they've done. I mean, they've come out and they've told the world this is the team that we're going to go with. The nice thing is that they only have to hand in their team sheet at the toss. So if they want to change their team, if they want to bring in an extra seamer, they are more than welcome of doing that. It's just and they probably might even do that if they look at the conditions. You just don't know right now. But I do like what they've done. It gives the players an opportunity to prepare. It lets the opposition know that this team is ready. They've trained. They've worked out how they're going to go about winning this Test match, and they're putting it all out there. So I don't mind it too much. But like I said, if they wanted to change their team tomorrow because the toss hasn't happened yet, they could if they wanted to.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if that does happen. No one will hold it against
Raunak, do you want to have
absolutely not
about what changes India could make from the team that they've announced already?
If anything, it commits the captain and the team to the 11 now, right? They don't have to worry about it. The media is also, put to rest. We don't have to speculate anymore. So it makes our life easier. But yeah, the rule is to confirm the team at the toss. Let's hope we have a toss tomorrow. Let's hope we have some play. But it's been that sort of day where players perhaps also have to find things to do to keep them mentally, physically charged. It tends to happen. Washouts happen in the game all the time. While we were waiting for some good news from Southampton, which never came on the first day, what we did do is take some questions, and we will be taking your questions right through the Test match. Hopefully, we will get enough action tomorrow and in the days to come. But Ask Match Day has always been an important part of the show. Even though there's no cricket, we put the ESPN Cricinfo staff to test to see the quality of questions that they can come up with for Dale Steyn and Sanjay Manjrekar on a day with no cricket. So let's get into Ask Match Day and see what they've come up with. Nishi Narayan, first up. How do you deal with pre-match nerves on a rainy day when the start is uncertain or it's going to be stop-start? Nishi, of course, part of our features team. So that's her question first up. So how do you deal with pre-match nerves on a rainy day? Dale, any experience of that?
I mean, jeepers. I was always nervous. I'm not going to lie, especially if we were going to bowl, And once you've bowled that first ball, I'm just telling myself, I'm talking to myself in my mind, and I'm just saying, just land the ball in the right place. Whatever you do, just land the ball in the right place. And then once that first ball's gone, you kind of get into it and off you go. But rain delays can kind of ease the nerves for a period, and then all of a sudden the match referee comes in and he's like, guys, you're on in 10, and you kind of like you just have to get onto it. So a good captain will always tell the guys, have match prepared awareness. It can happen at any single time that that conditions can clear up quickly and you can get onto the park. So having a good captain and manager and coach can kind of handle that situation a little bit better. But when teams do fancy things, I've been part of teams, sorry to carry on here, where guys are playing football and they headed the ball and bang, stitches in the head and off they got to go. They rush to hospital. This has happened before. I've seen this happen with my own eyes. It's crazy. So to have good captains and coaches to keep the guys match awareness is always good too.
Okay, let's take another one of our questions. We've got plenty of these, so Sanjay can weigh in as well. The most memorable moment you remember from a rain delay? That's Karthik Krishnaswamy. Of course, for all of you who follow the site, would have read enough of KK's fine work. Sanjay, most memorable moment you remember from a rain delay?
Yeah, I find this the toughest question to answer when somebody says, which is your most memorable, or the most funny incident in the dressing room. And it just at that time doesn't come. It's a bit like your quiz shows that you used to have during the IPL. I struggle with it. I struggle with these kind of questions as well. But, rain days are, I found them extremely frustrating. And, one thing that happens is that everybody just gets together. There's a lot of talking. And some of the great conversations happen at that time. So more than a particular incident, there are different players, Dale would know, who handle these kind of delays differently. There are some guys who just get into this negative state of mind where they start hoping that it continues to rain the whole day and the match doesn't happen because they are sort of unprepared, right? They don't know when they'll have to be called upon to go there. And then, when you have to go out there, you're playing a test match of the highest, standard, and the challenge is really high. So it's like, okay, we're going to go out in the next 10 minutes. So it's tough. So there are some people who will keep looking at the sky in the distance and spot a little cloud there and say, no chance of the match happening today. And they are sort of almost fervently hoping that the match doesn't happen. So when you have those kind of people around, it becomes even more tough. I never enjoyed rain delays, and that's one of the frustrations that I had as a player when I went to England, and as a commentator when I'm in Sri Lanka with rains.
Well, have you got one particular moment, Dale? Were you ever kicking the football to break someone else's head?
No, we've messed around. We've played football. I mean, I can remember a game at the Gabba. I think the first day was completely rained off, and eventually they came to us. The umpires came and said, "There's no play to have today." I think it was the first day. So some of the guys went out to go and kick football, and I can remember JP Duvernay starting off with some runs, and he tore his Achilles tendon. Bang, that was it. He didn't face the ball. He didn't go onto the field, and yet we were one player down, gone for the test match. We had to play the remainder of that test match with one player short. That was pretty hectic, and I can also remember playing for Hampshire actually, and whenever it would rain and we'd have these delays, Riley Rousseau would get so upset because he would want to go home and get onto his computer because he wanted to play computer games, or the guys wanted to go home to go and watch Love Island, and now they had to wait because they had to carry on playing the game. So yeah, it's quite funny actually.
You want to tell us who in particular wanted to run home and watch Love Island?
James Vince was a big fan of Love Island. Him and Liam Dawson, when I played at Hampshire, they're going to hate me, but they absolutely loved it. And I won't lie that I kind of got suckered into that too. It was quite good for the time when I was there.
Okay, let's take our next question. Himanshu Agarwal, part of our news desk. Is being from a cricketing family advantages or disadvantages? And what were some of the earliest lessons, both for life and cricket, that your father taught you? This is, of course, for Sanjay.
I've mentioned this many times. I wrote in my book as well. There are advantages when you're sort of young, coming through the ranks, and especially when you had these open trials, and the selectors would pay special attention. That we've got Vijay Manjrekar's son there in the crowd, so let's have a look at him. Whereas the others would be just cast an eye on those guys and so okay next. But I got special attention, so that's the advantage that you got. That people took notice of you, paid a little more attention, but then the disadvantage kicked in, and more often than not it would be like, his father was much better. He's good but not quite like his father, and my father was a little abrasive kind of person, so he made a few enemies as well. And sometimes when I was coming through the ranks as a junior player, I used to wonder why this coach doesn't like me. And then somebody told me, your father used to bully him a lot. So those kind of things happened, but they weren't that important. In the end, I think it just sort of neutralizes the advantage and disadvantage. And I think the biggest influence coming from a cricketing family is that you get sucked into playing the game. And once I finish playing everything, when I look at what I do generally with my life, if I was not born in a cricketing family, sometimes I just wonder whether I would have taken up cricket. So that is the biggest contribution, or the impact that a cricketer father does on his son.
Right, brilliant. I can certainly think of what your alternate profession would have been. It might still be. You still have plenty of years. And I'm sure we'll get a question on that. So I'll wait for it. So let's take our next question. This is from the editor himself, the editor-in-chief, Sambit Bal. To Sanjay, Steyn or Donald, who would you rather face on a pace-friendly pitch? Sanjay?
Pace-friendly. That's a tough one. Gives me just an opportunity to dwell on Alan Donald, and we've got some time here as well. Alan Donald made a name for himself first in county cricket. I don't know whether Dale was aware of it, but he was called this White Lightning, when he was getting all those wickets, this guy from South Africa. And we were in the time when, only fast bowlers from West Indies were bowling quick. So it was unusual to see a white, white cricketer bowling so quickly. So it was called White Lightning. And Mohammad Azharuddin had played some county cricket, and we used to meet occasionally in England. I used to play league cricket, and Azhar kept talking about Alan Donald and saying he's very quick, very quick. And turned out that our first test match in South Africa, we were pitted against Alan Donald on a fast Durban pitch. And one of the quickest deliveries that I faced in my career came from Alan Donald. It was a short of length ball and just went past me like this. And I had to sort of go back like this. And the next morning, I was just wondering why I've got this stiff neck here. And then I remember that particular ball from Alan Donald. So he was pretty quick. But at that time, he was sort of evolving as a bowler, Dale. So Alan Donald just bowled the two lengths. There was that quick ball right up there. And then there was the short ball that he bowled. So, I could see as I kept playing him, in my last test match as well, I played Alan Donald at Ahmedabad against South Africa. And by that time, he had become a complete bowler. Brilliant with the new ball and brilliant with the old ball. Never had the privilege and honor to play Dale Steyn. But I guess Dale Steyn would have got me out leg before very often. Alan Donald just didn't quite pitch it there. So maybe Steyn would have got me out more often. But the memories, personal memories and experiences that I've had are only from Alan Donald.
All right. Let's take our next question, shall we? From Shiva Jayaraman, one of our stats wizards. Is it easy for a swing bowler to deliver wide of the crease and still get the ball to swing away from the right-hander in English conditions when the ball is swinging too much? And he adds a little more, make the batsman play at an angle. Dale?
Yeah, I think you can. I think you need to use those. You need to use the crease well. James Anderson is an absolute master of it. And his name's actually eluded me. He plays for Kent now. He bowls like dibbly dobblers, but he's taken about 1 billion first-class wickets, county wickets. He's also about 45 years old.
Shiva might tell us that.
What is his surname now?
Dale would know.
Darren something. Anyway, I can't remember his surname. But he uses the crease so beautifully, and sorry.
So carry on. I'll try and find the
Right,
what
so
you're talking about.
I just think, if you're in England and you can use the crease the way that those guys do, Alphonso Thomas was also really good at it. Come wide, just cut off the angle of the swing. It swings a little bit less. Get tight to the stumps. Try and nip it back from tight to the stumps and swing it big from tight to the stumps. If you can use the angle of the crease and use you can definitely get more wickets like that. If you just maintain landing in the same place, running in, doing the same thing, good batters will become aware of that. They'll become accustomed of that. They'll be able to play you a lot easier. And the big hooping ball in England is easy to play. You'll see the guys leave really well. Alistair Cook was a really good lever of the ball. The good opening batters, they bat deep into their crease. They let the ball come to them, and they play it really late. But the guys that use the angles well, James Anderson, even Broad, who's not a big swinger of the ball, but when he uses the angle well, can pick up a lot of pulse.
Yeah, we've got Dave and
did he ever sort of go wide of the crease, and could he get that outswinger going, or he was generally sort of coming back in? In England, did he get that ball to leave the right-hander from wide of the crease? Makhaya?
He could get it when he got his wrist good. He could get it to kind of more like nip off the deck, But he always brought the ball back in. I remember him at the Oval even bowling Ian Bell. Bell got so far across outside off stump because he didn't want to get out LBW to Makhaya that he ended up exposing his leg stump. Missed the leg like glance. Missed it, and his leg stump went flying. So Makhaya was always that kind of bowler that brought it in, and when it hit the deck and it straightened, he would get those away, those edges that went to slips and so forth.
I've got Dave and Sparsh on our YouTube live helping us out. It's Darren Stephens, the 45-year-old.
Darren Stephens.
There
you go.
Yeah, 507.
He's a master. He's a master in it. He just runs in and uses the crease. Beautiful.
Can I share the skills that I personally sort of had the honor of facing was Wasim Akram. In his prime in limited overs cricket. This guy was so skillful, and what a master he was with the old ball. When it started reverse swinging, that in the slog overs, guys, he would come wide of the crease, round the wicket. So he's a left-hander coming wide of the crease. And as a right-hander facing up, he would actually bowl from an angle onto middle and leg. And, during the slog overs, when you're looking to score quick runs, the natural reaction of any batsman is to go with the angle and slog it to deep mid-wicket. But he had, the ball was just right for him to come like this. And at the very last minute, sort of curve back into the stumps. And that's how, he got so many wickets in the slog overs, getting that ball to swing in that fashion. Unfortunately, there's no more swing left with, the two new balls, but Wasim could do that superbly because we're talking using wide of the crease. This guy could do it in Sharjah with the old ball.
He was amazing. I still every now and then catch myself on YouTube watching him and Waka. They're just, and not a lot of left arm bowlers could have that kind of skill. There's been a couple left arm bowlers of late that have come in and are gas. Like you think of Mitchell Johnson and Stark from Australia. But there hasn't been that guy that can come in and kind of swing it the way that Wasim used to do it. He was just one of a kind.
Yep. All right, we've got a couple more questions for Sanjay and Dale before we wrap it up on what's been a day that we've not got some cricket, but we're getting some nice cricket chat. Dustin Silgado, you'd have seen him on Run Order. If Rishabh Pant reverse scooped you for 6, first ball of the over in a test, Dale, what would you bowl as the next ball? That's very Dustin. It's a great question. Dale.
Is it still in the rule book? Can I roll the ball down the pitch? Because I would feel that embarrassed to run in and bowl another ball. But I can tell you for free that he will know where I'm bowling the next ball, and that's going to be a short ball. That's 100%. Like it's disrespectful to do that kind of reverse scooping stuff. What he did to James Anderson in India, jeepers. I doubt he'll do it anywhere else in the world, but at that time he looked red hot, and he was just batting in such good form. It didn't matter if it was Jofra. I think he did it to Jofra Archer also.
He did it. Yes.
Oh, it's arrogance at its best. It's just amazing, Yeah, look, he's a great batter. He's got good eyes. But I can tell you the next ball that I'm bowling is straight for the head.
So my question is to, again, Dustin would know. Raunak, you would know. You've got good memory. What was the next ball that Jimmy Anderson bowled to Pant after that shot? I don't
Wow,
think
okay, he didn't go
he went
short, but
proper. He
I
went
wouldn't blame him
proper.
for not bowling short in Ahmedabad, as it turned out. But I think that was a period with the second new ball where Pant
Yeah,
was
second
just.
new ball. I think that was the first ball with that second new
It
ball
was
from
certainly
just.
early, and Pant really went hard at him, hit him for a few boundaries. It was just it was. You could see that shot on. And Dale, let me just tell you, we won't put it past Pant doing it now in this game. Forget whether he does it
Oh
ever
no,
again or again. He'll attempt it. Whether he's successful, I don't know, but I think he'll attempt it.
definitely. He's got that reputation now. And he's gonna. It's like AB de Villiers. He gets a reputation of playing these shots, and you're waiting for him to do it. Because it's part of his capabilities. He can pull it off, and that's where you make the mistake, especially in white ball cricket, is that you're waiting for him to play this one particular shot that you kind of go out of your game plan and you do something silly. But in Test cricket, to see that kind of stuff happen, I mean, this is the modern game, I suppose. Hey? It's amazing. It's good for viewership. It's great. It's going to be on a GIF running constantly.
He's gonna be on a few. You think plenty of memes and gifs with Rishabh Pant.
Yeah.
We'll see if he gets.
Raunak is also very cunning. He
Yes,
plays
sir.
it when you're not expecting it.
Yeah.
The moment he plays it once and he knows now that the bowler is prepared, he won't play it for a while. So he's a cunning, sneaky kind of batsman.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good list to already start making. Anderson, Archer. So you've got Bolt, you've got Saudi, you've got plenty of good options to try it. I love to see him do it to Neil Wagner. Maybe the angle won't allow it, but you never know. If he does it to Neil Wagner, let's see what Wagner responds with. That would be blockbuster. But anyway, let's take our last question, shall we? Vishal Dikshit, what's the one thing you love and the one thing you hate about social media? Sanjay, how much time do we have?
Dale first.
Dale first.
No,
Oh my word.
I mean, no, you can have your drink. I'll just quickly answer this. Double-edged sword. Twitter, it's served me well on occasions and hasn't served me too well on many occasions. And now at this stage, when you sort of balance it, I think it's done me more harm than good. So social media has been something that it's a beast that I've not been able to tame or understand. I've tried different techniques, but still trying to understand the dynamics of social media.
Yes, you're
Twitter,
more.
especially.
You've been more active on Twitter all these years. Dale's been very active on Insta. I think he's more an Insta guy than a Twitter guy, where he's showing us pictures of those big catches that he made in Botswana on a fishing trip, or he's surfing. He's doing all the things that you want to do if you're capable of doing it, which I'm not, but Dale, you are.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that I love about social media, especially both can do it, I suppose, but Instagram, you can bridge the gap between who you are and who people think you are. Because I meet a lot of people in the supermarket or something, and they come up to me and they said, "Oh, we were so scared to come and talk to you," and I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "Because when you're on TV, you're so angry." And I'm like, "Oh, it's okay. I didn't realize that." So I try and use my Instagram to show people a lot less cricket, but I try and show people what I enjoy doing off the field. That I'm just like everybody else. I love walking my dogs. I love going fishing, and I love surfing, and I love doing all those kind of stuff. If you want to know something about cricket, you can Google. But I think the one thing that I hate about social media is that I do find myself spending a lot of time on my phone. And every Sunday, my phone tells me, it gives me my weekly update, whether it's like how many hours I've been on my phone. And I quickly realize, I gotta put this thing away. I spend way too much time just scrolling through and getting lost in it when I could be doing plenty other things. So yeah, that fishing trip was a good week, because when I went on there and it said my daily time limit, it was down by like 70%. I was quite happy with that.
Are pages still available, Raunak? Pages?
I would have to ask, Gaurav Kalra or Sambit Bal, someone from those eras.
I'm
They may
planning
still
to
be
go in that direction with my devices.
Right. Yeah. I think it may be wise to stick to facts or pages, something like that, Sanjay, might help. All right,
Facts.
this has been good fun, but we want to talk about some cricket. And while we are discussing social media, and we are going to have some cricket, hopefully, tomorrow and after that in this World Test Championship final. So, might I tell you, it's not only about this test that we're eagerly awaiting. We're waiting for some live action, of course, but we also want to make all you fans aware that you don't have to just watch the game on TV or follow it on ESPN Cricket. You can also be part of it. You could also win ICC T20 World Cup tickets and watch that spectacle live in the stadiums. All you have to do is participate in the hashtag RS Make It Large test contest. You need to visit the Royal Stag Make It Large handle anywhere on social media, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. So pick your platform every day starting today. I mean, from tomorrow, Royal Stag Make It Large will be publishing 2 contest polls asking fans to choose among 2 to 3 options given, and that what was the Make It Large moment of the session among these alternatives, and if their pick matches the RS experts' choice, then you stand to win tickets to the ICC T20 World Cup. So it's simple. Just stay tuned to Royal Stag Make It Large handles, and well, that's where your best chance is to participate and win tickets to the T20 World Cup. Right, we will be back then. Hopefully, we will have an on-time toss. We don't have great forecasts for the next few days, but that's changed suddenly. The weather does change suddenly in England, as Sanjay, Manjrekar and Steyn know very well. So we keep our fingers crossed. And of course, if you want to consume some more content, then might I suggest something that was memorable on a rainy day today was Sanjay and Dale with a wonderful chat about Dale Steyn's early days. That's going to be out soon on ESPN Cricket for On the Ball. We've already got Dale talking about bowling to Kohli and Williamson with Sanjay. So might I request that or recommend that for viewing while you're waiting for the first ballers game. Sanjay, Dale, let's take this up tomorrow, and let's hope we'll be discussing cricket on the field. Let's see if India take Dale Steyn's tip and maybe reconsider their 11 if they want to. That should make for a talking point or two. Thank you very much to Sanjay and Dale. We'll have them right through our coverage on Intel Presents ESPN Cricket Info Matchday powered by Royal Stag. Do catch latest updates on ESPN Cricket Info as well as our social handles, and we hope to be talking about the World Test Championship final tomorrow. See you then.
Intel 入ってる。